Hello and welcome back to Daring and Doing. I'm Hester and I'm joined by the brilliant Ben Bowman. Ben, how you doing, mate?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. How are you?
I'm not too bad. I'm not too bad. How's YouTube going?
It's going all right, mate. It's
Because
going.
everyone, if you don't know already, Ben started his YouTube and it is class, absolutely class.
Thanks, mate. Will's involved as well. Will's been doing the thumbnails and the some of the editing and stuff as well. So it's a joint effort. Daring and Doing 2.0, basically.
We're taking over.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it's going all right, mate. We're just over. Let me just have a look now. I think we're just over 320 subscribers. 324.
Go on.
So, and our first video was out last Tuesday. On
Yeah.
a Barriese. So if you want to go watch that, there's a Conor Gallagher video as well, and there's the other videos are England stuff, but there's gonna be a lot more Spurs stuff and a lot more England stuff coming as well. So yeah, it's been going all right.
One. It's picked up quick, isn't it? It has picked up quick, and honestly, it's so good. So if you haven't checked it out already, go check it out.
Thanks,
after this video. Go check it out.
Exactly. Just wait.
Did you see Romero's assist last night?
Mate, he got so bored of being a world-class defender, he decided to turn into a playmaker as well. Unreal.
Mate, the vision. It was fucking insane. And the touch as well. He pulled it away from the defender, dragged it back, just through-balled it to, was it Di Maria?
Yeah, Di Maria.
Come on,
Di Maria. Yeah,
he's a joke. Are you worried he's going to leave us?
This summer? At some point.
Not this summer, but at some point.
No. Well, yeah, because he's amazing, but I think he's got Tottenham in his blood. I don't think he leaves in this Ange period. Unless everything goes tits up and we sack Ange and we get a new manager, then I could see him maybe going, you know what? I've given it a go with a few managers. I loved Ange. Even the other day, he was talking about, I think he said some nice things about Postecoglou, saying how much he loves him again. It's like, all right, guys, get fucking but he said, the coach is a beautiful person. He gave me a nice responsibility at the beginning of the season, and that is to be vice captain. We have a nice relationship, and I thank you for the words you have had about me. And it's literally
nice.
The picture looks like Ange Postecoglou is seductively whispering into his ear. It's a picture from when he came off against Brentford. I don't know if we can get it up, but
I know it is. Yeah. When he had concussion,
it's just like he's whispering in his ear, going, "Don't you're not going anywhere, mate."
Yeah. Meet me in my fucking office after this.
Yeah, I'll give you a little tuggy, mate.
You know those hair pulls you're doing on Sunny? That's what I want from you later.
I'm going to do that to your cock.
I do agree with you though. Like he uses Spurs, doesn't he? And there is always that Argentina Spurs link. So it's almost like it's written in the stars that all these top Argentina players come Spurs at some point. Like we're always going to have Argentinian players. It's the history of the club.
It's what we do, mate.
And yeah, it is. And but he is a Real Madrid level player. Like there's no doubt about that. It is just about keeping him happy and then keeping Ange and giving him more and more responsibilities and so he feels that importance. Can't let him down. Go on.
No, go on. I was going to say if Argentina win the Copa America this summer, to go World Cup to Copa America, has he won the Copa America before?
Yeah. Copa America to World Cup.
2-time Copa America to World Cup, back to Copa America. Top 10 centre back in the world. Top 5.
Mate, he is already. He just doesn't get the acknowledgement. And again, we're going to talk about Van der Ven later because he had a good shift at left back in one of the Netherlands warm-up games for the Euros. But again, we've heard it so many times. Van der Ven is just so much more flashy. He gets the headlines. Romero is just brilliant. He is just so good.
He's just class.
He is, and it's actually it'll be interesting to see the cover we get at centre back this year because when Harry Kane was up front, and we're always linked to strikers, but they didn't want to come because they were like, fuck that, I'm not going to get any game time. It's going to be interesting to see how we do with our recruitment when it comes to getting in that fourth centre-back, because they're going to look at Van der Ven, Romero, Dragusin starting to pick it up and think, when am I actually going to play? unless they're like a real versatile player and they can play like left back, right back, centre back, they're not really going to get a sniff, are they? Because we're set age-wise as well. We're set.
Calafiori?
Yeah, he looks like he's going for Juventus, though, doesn't
Juventus, yeah, I know. That would be.
Yeah.
Do you think we'd have the most handsome defence in the world if we had Porro, Romero, Van der Ven, Udogi, Dragusin, and Calafiori?
Yeah,
Jesus.
yeah.
You know how like in Euro 2021, all the women were like, "Oh, Grealish! Oh, look at Grealish,
Mason Mount,
Mason Mount." That's going to be me next year in the Europa League. Oh, Mickey.
Europa League, yeah. Well, that literally does look like the recruitment plan, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like Johan Lange is like, Johan Lange is like looking at the players and being like, fuck me, he's a 5. He would take us to the next level, but it just doesn't really fit with the sort of look.
Yeah. Need to do some looks maxing courses on some of these players.
Yeah.
Send off their profile to like the looks maxing people, and then you can come to Spurs.
That's the final bit of the medical.
Yeah,
they see how much they're packing as well.
Oh yeah, big time. I think our defense is packing some heat. Mate, you can't tell me that. Which is what makes it even more impressive with Van der Ven running, because it's like, how is he dragging those 3 legs across the pitch at that pace? It's just unreal.
Mate, that's why he runs so fast. He's got an extra fucking leg.
Yeah, true.
He's got 3 of them run. Yeah. When he does a knee slide, he leaves 3 lines.
A tripod.
Fuck me, you're a tripod. If we did get Calafiori, we'd have so much more fans. I'm just saying that, I reckon.
He's also Calafiori is quite like intimidatingly handsome though as well, isn't he? Like he looks like too like chiseled. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like he'd kill you.
Yeah, like, he looks like a Roman like assassin god. Like he's just like like it's almost quite intimidating. His face is quite. I'm just looking at him now, like in depth, in detail.
Do you think this is what the club scouts saying in the meetings with Daniel Levy? And Daniel Levy sat down and was like, "Can we get back to how good they are at football, please?"
Yeah, guys, come on, let's focus, guys. Guys, come on.
Everyone's just like, "Fucking look at those cheekbones, though, Daniel.
Look at those thighs." Oh.
He's definitely packing.
Yeah, 100%.
The links and rumours so far have been pretty limited. Apparently, Johan Lange or Langer or however you fucking say his name. Apparently, he works in the darkness, sort of thing. He's very good at keeping things on the low, and then he'll just like he'll be in advanced talks with someone. I think Paratici, it'll be hard to sort of adjust to, because Paratici was very much, I like 5 players and I'm chatting to all of them, and then it's like a roulette of who I want the most.
Yeah. I think
everyone knew about it.
It was like 10, wasn't it? He used to say that like there was 10 players for every position that they wanted, and it was like, and also all because I think Paratici, because of how almost like in with how many agents he's in with and all that kind of stuff. Like it was always spilling out into the media, wasn't it? Like because especially you know what like Italian journalists and stuff are like, everything just gets like everything's kind of accentuated that a little bit more. Even still, that we were getting linked to players with every single day, and also like Paratici's still there, like he's still there, still in the weeds, still in the doldrums of Hotspur Way somewhere, just on a burner phone, just like you just see him in the background of it. Also, like he's in all the games and stuff as well. Like he's not even hiding it, which I just quite rate, to be fair.
Fully coys. He was at the last game of the season, I think. There was a photo, I can't remember who it was, and you just see him in the background with the headphones still in. And he's just like, yes, that's my Don.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I reckon he's actually courtsiding. I don't think he's actually working. I think he's courtsiding for betting companies.
What's courtsiding?
So like, you know how like it's actually illegal, I think, which is not is irrelevant to Paratici. But it's people who go to like tennis games or like cricket matches or football games or whatever, and they're on the phone to like the people who make the odds and just tell them like, or no, sorry, that's not true. They're on the phone to people to say bet now on like, say in tennis, like say a shot, a point goes in, and before all the betting companies have the chance to register the point, you get it loaded, and then you say place the bet now before they can change the market.
Oh, okay.
I reckon that's what he's
just
doing.
getting filthy rich.
Yeah, I reckon he's just making a load of money. Courtside.
He
and
might
just
as
like,
well be.
And Kulesevski's through on goal. Right, now, place bet. Kulesevski, first goal scorer.
The thing is, he has the easiest job in the world, isn't he? He's just on the payroll probably still, isn't he? And
Yeah.
he's just an advisor. He just goes to games and he's fully coy. He goes to games, puts his headphones in, and I mean he must have a say in some areas of the transfer window. He must do. I'm pretty sure he even pushed the Dragisin deal and said to Lange. Every time I say Johan Lange's name, I keep changing how I say it. But he said, like, go watch this guy. Yeah, Lange. I don't know, fuck knows. But but apparently he works in the darkness. So the rumours, and again, the transfer window hasn't even opened yet. And I think there has been a lot of agitation from the fan base through some of the links that have come through. But again, it hasn't been every day like we used to. Every day a new exciting link. But yesterday, Fabrizio Romano come out and said that that he said that from what he understands, we're going for one more offensive player to replace a player, most likely Brian Hill. It's fucking so. Okay, say we bring in just that one more offensive player and miss out on either a striker or a winger, like vice versa, after bringing in Timo Werner on a loan, and then being the two signings we go for in the offensive area. Would you say that's back in Ange, or are we just seeing a continued tradition that failed Conte, failed Mourinho?
Yeah, I think. If we got to the end of the window and we'd signed one top-class attacker and it was that wide forward who could maybe play on both sides, or someone like an Eze who could potentially play as a false nine almost, then I would be happy with it. I wouldn't mind it. I think we need a striker, but we have got options, so I wouldn't be too... I don't know. I get what you mean, and I get that maybe if you really want to back Ange, go and get both. And I think if Ange makes it clear that he wants both, then I think Spurs will probably go and do that. I think there is a risk of falling into the trap of kind of making those same mistakes because you've got a manager that the fans are completely bought into, all kind of on side with for the most part. We have been here before, and we've kind of been scarred a little bit in the past of like maybe we didn't quite back Conte enough. But then again, Conte, I think, just almost wanted that little bit too much, maybe. Whereas I think Ange is like, I just need these few little pieces to keep building and building and building. But for me, like we've done a good amount of squad building over the last 12 months. There still needs to be a little bit more of that in certain positions with the depth, etc. But I think this summer is about quality. And I think if it means really upgrading one of those positions with the guy that you definitely want, even if it means that you might not get a striker as well, I think I'd probably be okay with it. But you just never know because it's like so many other journalists will come out and say something different. Someone will say, oh, Spurs want a striker and a winger. But Fabrizio Romano might say, we just want a winger. Or an attacker might mean that striker. But I think if you're looking at an option and to say, well, if we are only going to sign one attacker, for me, it's got to be someone like Eze because of that versatility that he does bring you and how well he can kind of operate in central areas as well as out wide.
Yeah. I'm with you in that case. I'm gaslighting myself into believing that Eze won't count in Fabrizio Romano's mind as an offensive player because we can see him as an 8, a 10, and then a winger as well. Like that's not his predominant position, is it? But and then we go and get a striker because I actually think we're not backing Ange if we don't get the reinforcements in. He's said himself we need to bulk up that attacking the attacking quality in the team, and that's not just let's just replace Brian Hill and then keep Werner. That's not bulking up the attacking quality. So and what does that mean? We keep Manuel Solomon. What the fuck has he done in this whole year? He's just living up. He's stealing the living. I know he's been injured, speed of recovery and that, but he is just been. He hasn't added anything to this attacking front line.
No. I don't think he will next year either. Even if he's fit again, I don't think he will next year.
No, we've replaced Lucas Moura with a younger Lucas Moura with an injury issue. So and I've said it so many times before, we've lost money on a fucking free transfer, which is terrible business. And when we get into, it's frustrating because, and I'm not just digging out Solomon, but we're talking about being ruthless, being brutal, which we all expected us to be this summer. And again, keep in mind the window hasn't even started yet, and a lot of the time we get caught up in these moments when there's so much to go, and you're looking at it from afar. But we've heard that we're going to be really ruthless, and to take that next level, we need to cut all the deadwood out of the team. We've recruited deadwood over the last 2 years in the Manor Solomons. So if we keep him, we're still going to have those players that are like, they just haven't worked out. We need to sell them after signing them a year before. It's stressful. But again, I think a lot depends on Richarlison's future as well. And also, again, we don't know what to think, because Alistair Gold, who's so close to Spurs, you'd probably trust him with Spurs information more than Fabrizio Romano. He said that from what he understands, we'll go in for a winger and a striker as well. So maybe we just, and I think a lot of the times so far this summer we've heard a lot about players with versatility. So maybe we're going to sign players that can do a shift in number 8, number 10, and do a shift in the front line as well. So again, I'm trying to gaslight myself into believing this is what's going to happen. But it was worrying when he said one offensive player. But can you see Ange ever getting frustrated at the board publicly to the same extent as Mourinho and Conte? Because when he has sort of made sly digs, it's not real digs. It's sort of like a wake up, because I'm going to take you to this point. I want to do this, and I'm going to, but you need to help me along the way. That's what he's sort of alluding to when he makes comments about the ambition of the club, or where he wants to be next season, challenging for titles. He was saying we need to be the ones to stop Arsenal winning the league, not hoping we lose so Arsenal wins to stop winning the league. And Arsenal aren't going to stand still, are they? They're not. No. They're going to keep on building on what they have, and we can't just sign one more offensive player and Timo Werner. We're not going to catch up. We're not. And I'm not even expecting massive transfer sums. There are a lot of opportunities that would elevate us to the next level on the market. But anyway, sorry, I went on a bit of a tangent there. Can you see him ever getting frustrated like Conte and Mourinho?
I don't think to the same extent as those two. Potentially, I know Ange has kind of got that fire in his belly that we have all seen. He can come out in public and tell you exactly what's on his mind. And I don't think he necessarily beats around the bush in anything that he says, but it's just how he kind of goes about it. I can't see, I might be wrong, but I can't see him having like a meltdown to the level that Conte did, where he threw his toys out the pram that badly.
No.
I can't really see that. And whether you think that's justified or not in terms of what Conte did is another question. But I think he knows what he wants. He knows he's not going to probably get it all this summer. He knows this is a process and this is a project. And it might sound like, by saying this, it's like, well, you're kind of just drinking the Levy Kool-Aid or whatever. But it's like, I think he's realistic as well to know that we can't get exactly everybody he wants through the door in this summer.
Yeah.
We've done some good squad building up until this point. Yes, I think this summer is about going and getting those top targets. But I think if we just miss out on one player for whatever reason that is, I don't think he's going to go crazy and, start calling out the board and stuff like that. I think he's just he's the sort of manager that will work with what he's got, whether it's what he kind of wants or not. But I think he'll get what he wants to a large extent. I do think he'll get what he wants, because I think that Spurs aren't necessarily going to have a free run at some of these players that we're linked with. But I think what we can offer them is very enticing, even without Champions League football. And I think he's shown that he's a manager that people want to work with, which is exciting. But again, it's kind of like what you said about Alistair Gold. It's just like you don't know what to believe anyway, because you just hear so many different stories from so many different people. Realistically, people are going to start moaning, right, about Spurs not getting their business done early. That's probably already started, because last summer we'd already signed Vicario by this point. I think we'd probably already signed Vicario by this point like a week ago, maybe, or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But there wasn't an international tournament last summer. There's a tournament this summer that kind of gets in the way with some of our top targets, whether that's Eze, Gallagher, Nico Williams, are all playing at the Euros, which is going to complicate any of those deals, which means that you're not going to see them even get off the ground until England get knocked out, Spain get knocked out, whoever else we're in for get knocked out. There will be probably some activity over the Euros. But if you really want Eze, you've got to be patient. It's not going to be one of those deals that gets done in July or June or July straight away, because his release clause situation is complicated. We don't really know whether it is a release clause or whether it's been reported as a release clause. But is it more of a, I hate to say this phrase because we've been here before, gentleman's agreement, where if a top club comes in for him, he is and offers that money, he's allowed to go, or whether it's anyone can pay that money and it frees him from his contract. Because again, Daniel Levy is not going to want to pay £60 million up front for Robert Eze with those £8 million add-ons, which we've heard about over the last couple of days. But neither are Arsenal, and neither are Liverpool, and neither are Man United. No club is going to do that. That's not how deals work anymore. So I think people need to get a little bit realistic in terms of what's going to happen this summer at Spurs. Not necessarily in terms of the players that we're going to bring in, but in terms of how quickly we do that, and then how quickly that relates to how much we back Ange. I do think that's going to start, and it's going to start getting on my nerves. It's going to, that whole backing Ange thing, early doors, getting the players that he wants in before pre-season, that is going to start, and people are going to get frustrated. But if you really want players like that, even Ivan Toney, chuck Toney into the mix because he's at the Euros as well. You'd imagine that is a much more straightforward deal to do if that deal ends up happening, because Brentford want the money, they want him out, Spurs want him, bang, there you go. It's going to be a little bit of haggling over the feet, but you'd imagine Spurs can get that done, whereas Eze, it's more complicated. But I just think people have a right to feel like we should be ambitious, because we 100% should be. But I think people also need to be a little bit patient. And I know Spurs fans are sick and tired of being told that. But this summer, with all of our top targets, if you believe, like Gallagher and Eze, at the Euros, England will probably go quite far. That deal's not going to get done for a long time. Even with Chelsea wanting to sell before the 30th of June, that means that Gallagher's going to have to sign this week, because England's first game is next Sunday.
Yeah, they're going to want their futures resolved by or just put that they won't be thinking about it. They'll be thinking about England, and then once that settles, and I think that's the case with, like you're saying, with most signing targets.
And the FA aren't going to want it either. The FA aren't going to want, all right, we've just played Serbia, we've got a few days until the Denmark game. Conor Gallagher, go and sort out your move to Spurs or Aston Villa now. Because Chelsea, if you read what you believe, need to sell before the 30th of June, which is when the Euros are still going on, getting into crunch time with the quarterfinals around that time as well. The FA aren't going to want that distraction, which doesn't really play into Tottenham's hands in terms of the deal. But I think people just need to sort of just be aware of those things. And people are sick of being told that they have to be patient. But I think that's just kind of what it is with a couple of those deals.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, it's so easy to get caught up in the moment in it, because we're clinging on to every single rumour transfer, because we're so desperate. We've been in so many times before. We're so desperate to kick on because the foundations are there under Ange. Everyone knows that. And I think at the end of the last season, we were all just looking forward to this summer, the excitement that it brings, the Euros, and then the transfer window, and then another pre-season under Ange, and then kicking on from there. So we're really desperate to be in that period of the dopamine hits from transfer links, etc. That we just have to hold on, just see, come the end of the transfer window, and then assess it.
I agree.
But the homegrown issue doesn't help. There's so much in the air. Like the homegrown issue does not help, because we've got 4 registered at the moment: Parrott, Skip, Whiteman, Austin. Austin's just signed a new contract. Whiteman he'll probably stay for another year at least, or he looks like we're going to keep him. Skip and Parrott are in the air, and if we sell Skip and Parrott, then we're looking at Marcus Edwards. Almost said Michael Edwards. He's from Liverpool.
Sport director. What signing that be, by the way?
Yeah, but we got Lange, Paratici, and now another one.
Yeah.
But Marcus Edwards, Carl Peters, I would personally just fucking be brutal and say, Skip, we'd rather you just stay a year, and Parrott, we'd rather you stay a year than go out and go backwards and sign Marcus Edwards and who's the one? Cole Peters. Yeah, because no one takes us forward. No one takes us
Yeah, I
forward, and
agree.
it's just about being patient now before the younger youth players come through the ranks and turn 21, and then you can put them down as eligible players.
Yeah.
But do you agree with that, or would you sign them type of Cole Peters? Would you sell Skip, Parrott, bring in Marcus Edwards and Cole Peters?
I think Marcus Edwards makes a little bit more sense, but I'm still just not sold on it because of kind of how he left the club before, partly as well. I like him. He's got a lot to offer. He's got incredible talent. But I just think in those positions where we kind of need to go to that next level, I just don't think he takes us there. He'd be a bit of a no-brainer in terms, like, if we were to get rid of Manor Solomon, for example, and sign a winger that can play on the left-hand side and the right-hand side, to have Johnson, Kulusevski, who can also drift inside, play in the number 10 or the false 9 position, then I wouldn't mind Edwards so much. But I think it just makes it a little bit top-heavy almost. And I think we need to really upgrade the quality rather than the depth, because I think we've already done that with Werner.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that can't be our extra offensive player. No fucking way. You think of the meltdown on Twitter or from the fan base if that happens. But yeah, I'm expecting there to be a lot of twists and turns and surprises and out sort of moves that a bit curveball moves that people aren't expecting, because again, Lange works in the dark, and I'm expecting that things to just advance really quickly out of nowhere. But we have been busy so far with outgoings, and I'm going to take us back to the summer of 2019. Tottenham had signed Sessegnon, Giovanni Lo Celso, Jack Clark. We won't talk about Jack Clark. Tanguy and Ndombele following our Champions League final defeat. Sessegnon has now departed due to his contract expiring. Lo Celso is very likely to leave this summer, apparently, according to Fabrizio Romero.
Yeah.
And Spurs are reportedly close to terminating Tanguy and Ndombele's contract with 1 year left to go on that one. Can you please sum up their Spurs careers, starting with Sessegnon? Because I feel terrible for Celso. I'm really, really sad how his sort of careers, I wouldn't say ended, because I think there's a lot of time. He's 23, 24. There's a lot of time for him to come back, but just his Spurs career, how it's ended, and the excitement we had when he signed for us, thinking this is our long-term Danny Rose replacement.
Yeah.
And how it was so anticlimactic in it, how it ended.
Yeah.
Sum up his Spurs career.
I think it's really hard to failed potential is probably what I would say, but then I think that also applies to the likes of Ndombele and Lo Celso. Really, I think you could probably go through that for all of them. To be fair, it is a real shame with Sessegnon, because I think, like you said, we really did see him as that kind of heir to Danny Rose, that wing back bombing up and down that side, got so much quality arriving in the box.
Yeah,
but unfortunately, just injuries kind of held him back a little bit, and I don't think he's built for the Premier League, and I don't think he's built to play at a top side in the Premier League, it's horrible to say that because it feels really cliche, but it's kind of what we've seen. And it also applies to both of those other signings in Ndombele and Lo Celso as well. Just that little bit too brittle almost, just that too like, and Ndombele was a whole nother issue in itself. His lack of fitness and stuff let him down, but there was a lot of other things that went into that. Whereas Sessegnon, like you say, I feel really bad for him because, again, we saw glimpses. There was a period under Conte where, I remember the North London derby at home. I remember the games like that kind of run into the end of the season when he came back from injury, I think it was. And then he was superb against Saka in that game. I remember the first home game of the season, the following year against Southampton, arriving at the back post, getting in there, scoring that header. I thought, lift off for Sessegnon. Like, now, let's go. I want to see it from him. And it's such a shame. It's such a shame for Sessegnon. And I certainly kind of hold him, I wouldn't say closer to my heart, but like I have more empathy for Sessegnon in his situation leaving the club than I do with the other two jokers, to be honest.
Yeah. It is. Everyone could see the potential with him when he first signed, and after a few injuries, you could tell he was running different, and he was jerking out challenges a little bit, and you could just tell he was so. It was taking over his mind. Everything he did, he was worried about pulling his hammy again or injuring himself again. Just you could just tell it was so clear that was taking up a lot of his thinking process. And there was that game as well where we drew 2-2 with Liverpool at home.
It's great,
and he locked up Salah.
He was good at Anfield as well.
Yeah, he was great
as well. He got the assist for Son's goal at Anfield, didn't he?
Oh, of course, yeah. So he did have moments, but I feel terrible. For him. But what about Tanguy and Ndombele, mate?
Absolute joker. After that Morecambe, was it Morecambe in the FA Cup where he got substituted when we were 1-0 down and walked off the pitch? I've been hearing Ndombele remontada shouts for the last 2 years now. And I might have got suckered in a couple of times and thought, under Ange,
100%.
Dynamic number 8, who's got great quality on the ball, could be exactly what we need.
Yeah.
Honestly, just get him gone. Tear up his contract. I think United let Pogba went on a free from United, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
you've got to sometimes Spurs pay. He's on record signing. We paid what, £65 million or there and thereabouts for him.
Yeah.
Sometimes you've got to be brutal and make those decisions where this is going to cost us money, but we've not seen that return on the investment anyway. So I think it's better to be brutal and make this cull of the squad of players that are never ever going to make it. Do you not think Spurs have not tried to sell Ndombele every time he's been out on loan to Napoli? Went back to Lyon, didn't he? Went to Galatasaray, and the bastards picked up 2 fucking league titles.
Yeah.
It's just it's unbelievable how he keeps doing it. But no, get him gone. I can't be asked anymore. I'm just I think people are kidding themselves of how good he could have been at Spurs. He was a mate. He's unbelievable potential. But potential means nothing unless you've got what it takes up here
work
to do it. And I think Ndombele clearly never had that. I hate kind of being that sort of almost presumptuous about players because it feels unfair and you really don't know what their situation is like. But I think Ndombele was just a lazy cunt.
Yeah. He's the equivalent to playing Sunday League. Your best player. He's so good, burns out after 20 minutes, goes has a cigarette, and then after he has a beer. And it's you could actually go far if you tried. In up the sort of
everyone in the change room was like, mate,
pyramid.
Focus.
Yeah. I reckon he was absolutely infuriating to one, manage and two, play with, because everyone could see it was clear as day the ability he had at his feet, but just couldn't be fucked to do anything. And again, he was up there with our highest earners with Son and Kane.
£200,000 a week,
probably our highest earner. Yeah.
Tear up that contract.
So he needs to go. Yeah, he cannot be. He cannot keep stealing the living off us, and he's taking a piss. It was funny. It was emerging on Twitter over the last few days of when we signed him, the excitement when we signed him, that 6-year contract. Everyone was like, "Oh my god, we've got for 6 years. We're going to conquer everything." Those 6 years were 6 years too fucking long, and we're still struggling now with it. And he was just. There was so much promise, so much potential. I remember we signed him. It was like, oh my god, this is our Moussa Dembele replacement. No one can get the ball off him. Progresses up the pitch. Got the vision. He had a few moments at Spurs, many moments on the ball, which was you watched it thinking, how the fuck did he just do that?
Yeah.
Thinking about that Sheffield United goal. Oh my god, where he dinked over Ramsdale. It was just a joke, but he was a genius with his feet. Technical ability was through the roof. It's just he just couldn't give a fuck. And it was funny thinking in hindsight back to when Postecoglou come in, and when he got out of the car to come training. Oh my god, I've seen corpses move quicker than that. And then everyone got excited because Ange gave him a bigger hug than everyone else coming off the training pitch.
Yeah.
Ange likes him. And then there was rumours that Ange wanted to keep him, have a good look at him. And then that first press conference with Ange, everyone was like, "Oh, I didn't like those Ndombele comments because he basically said it's up to him if he wants to make it work at Spurs, and we've heard that before.
Yeah.
And then obviously he sold him and got rid of it. And you think now of the juxtaposition between who we link with in Conor Gallagher and that sort of the engine he has, the grit to do the dirty work, playing in that same position Ndombele would have supposedly played. And Tanganga and Ndombele. It's night and day.
You're never going to get that from. You're never going to get that from Ndombele.
No,
not in a million years. Do you know? Right, this is funny. So, me and my mate George were talking the other day. I saw a clip on TikTok that was about Musa Sissoko under Poch at the end and Mourinho when he was at his prime for Spurs.
Yeah,
it was like when they fuck with you, but you just want to watch prime Musa Sissoko again. Musa Sissoko in this midfield, a prime Sissoko. Could you imagine?
Oh,
as a number 8.
Yeah, I can. The only thing is arriving in the box.
Do you remember we did that?
He could not fucking hit the back of the net to save his life.
That Bournemouth goal. Do you remember that? Mate, that was when
Burnley.
Burnley, mate. Exactly. Do you remember we did that roulette against Huddersfield?
Ooh.
He was a monster. I absolutely love Musa Sissoko. And it was funny because you would have thought like with Ndombele having Sissoko, like I remember the Amazon documentary, which actually, I don't know if you saw that. Ben Davis kind of had some interesting comments about that. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see. What did he say?
He was on a podcast. I don't know. It was like it was like some business podcast.
Yeah.
And he was talking about the Amazon doc and saying that the Spurs players basically weren't happy when it was first sort of brought in and the idea was sort of brought up. And it was quite clear in that documentary at the end of it that Sissoko and Aurier were like him and Ndombele and Sissoko and Ndombele and Aurier were like a friendship group, weren't they? And it was like you would have thought Sissoko as kind of that guardian almost would be great for Ndombele, but it just never really kind of turned out that way because Sissoko was such a good player for Tottenham. Like it took him a while, but he was a good player for Tottenham, and he was he had that cult hero status. He was loved by the fans, and he was just a sensible guy. And it was like you would have thought that maybe it kind of been perfect for him. But again, you can't help someone that doesn't want to help themselves. And that's kind of basically what Ange was saying. I remember, like you said in the press conference last year, because don't worry about it. Like as much as I sit here and say to get him out of our club right now, and I was like that against Morecambe when he got substituted when we were 1-0 down and he trudged off the pitch and got booed by the entire stadium, including me.
Yeah.
And I hate the booing thing. But if you're going to show that much disrespect to your boo, literally the guy sat in front of the TV. That was me. That was me last night when Stephen Bartlett fucking scored for England in the Soccer Aid. It was like you've shown disrespect to your teammates and you've shown disrespect to the fans. And to me, there was never any coming back from that. And I don't think he's ever played for Tottenham since then, has he? So make of that what you will. So no, man, he's just an absolute waste of space. I bet he'd move quicker from the fucking car to the training ground if the buffet was open. I've been really odd. It's just like he's just a waste of space at Tottenham. Honestly, like I hate it. I hate it because he has so much talent, and I don't want to be like. I don't know. I don't want to get in a wormhole and fucking get myself in trouble. But it's just like he's just a lazy bastard.
Yeah, the thing is, he is quality on the ball.
Oh
and
yeah.
First of all, Sissoko, I actually completely forgot Sissoko played for us until you posted it on Twitter. He's one of those players that you absolutely loved him, but then he sort of disappears off your memory because he went a lot unnoticed in games when it comes to iconic goals, assists. He wasn't there getting them, but he worked so hard and he was such an integral part of the system.
He wins that ball so much.
And in the Champions League semi-final as well. Yeah, and in the Champions League final when he handballed it, but he didn't. But he was part of that. But anyway, back to Ndombele. He has got magic at his feet. And I feel like there would be on a free transfer, there'd be a lot of clubs lining up for him. But what's the roof what's the ceiling? Sorry, of level of club that would sign Ndombele on a free? Do you think back-to-back league titles, mate? That's the mentality. He brings that winning mentality.
Maybe it's what we need.
Yeah, imagine.
Maybe don't rip up his contract. fuck knows. Like Galatasaray again, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he's not going to get
Fenerbahce.
top. I think because I presume we'll probably come on to talk about Lo Celso in a sec. Did you see Real Betis want to re-sign Lo Celso?
Yeah.
What money would you give me if Ndombele went back to Lyon on a free?
Oh, you
That
reckon
would
that'd happen?
That would be so Tottenham, wouldn't it? Like sign Lo Celso, sign Ndombele, two like really exciting, young, promising midfielders. And Ndombele leaves back on a free 5 years later to the club that we bought him from. And Real Betis re-sign Lo Celso. It'd be so like, and Sessegnon goes back to Fulham because there have been links with Fulham trying to re-sign him. So, well, again, how true that is, who knows? But that would be so Tottenham.
Yeah, no, it was. I think he's capable of playing for a Europa League club. Imagine him playing for another team facing us in Europa League.
Oh, and if they beat us
at our stadium. Yeah, he scores. Fuck me. I don't want to be there if he does that.
No,
it'd be so painful because everyone knows how good he is. It's so disrespectful how he'd perform or how he's gone about his professionalism. But anyway, moving on from Ndombele, we mentioned him there. Lo Celso, sum up his Spurs career because there was little glimpses of a comeback for the ages, but didn't really work out.
Yeah, close to a remontada, but again, he just like I'll say one thing about Lo Celso that will sum up his Spurs career: 100+ games, 90 minutes.
Yeah,
that tells you everything.
Injuries.
Yeah, that literally tells you everything you need to know about Lo Celso because, again, like Ndombele had magic at his feet. Like actually, he would be perfect for Postecoglou, and he's shown how good he can be in this team as well because. Again, me and you have spoken so many times about Lo Celso, naturally, given the fact that he has sort of had a little bit of a renaissance this season, or last season, sorry. He's not a number 10. He has got good output in the final third and has got good quality. You know, we saw that this season with some of the goals, etc. But he's a number 8. He's got great defensive work weight. Work weight? Jonathan Wass has just signed for Spurs. He's got good work rate. I think he's really combative. I think everything kind of you're almost looking at in someone like a Gallagher. I think Lo Celso does give you that as well, which I think is why people don't necessarily want to sign Gallagher, but they want to keep Lo Celso. But with the amount of injuries that he's had, with how brittle he is, with the fact that it's just like one step forward, two steps back every time with Lo Celso. He always plays well when he's on the pitch, but it's just not frequent enough. He's probably, for me, actually more frustrating than Ndombele in a way. I don't know, because I feel like we did all fall in love with Ndombele a little bit during that era under Mourinho where he was like, when we were top of the league and we went to Chelsea away and Ndombele was like the best player on the pitch and all that. Lo Celso, when we had so many fucking injuries under Mourinho from January up until like COVID, we'd made the loan permanent and he was unreal. Like he was our best player. It was like,
he was.
It was like holiday romance levels of like falling in love with his player. I remember he scored against Middlesbrough in the FA Cup, I think it was.
Yeah. His ball carrying was a joke. Progressive carries. And the grit.
Was it the Southampton goal in the FA Cup for Son, where he carried the ball from our half all the way out the pitch and then laid it off for Son, who buried it? I think he's more frustrating, actually, I think, for me. That might sound mad. I don't know whether you agree. And I don't know whether I agree with that, to be fair, because I think Ndombele had world-class talent. Whereas Lo Celso, I don't think ever had that. He was never going to be world-class. But what he gave you, I think, was always probably going to be more valuable over the long term than what Ndombele was going to give you, I think.
Yeah, no, Ndombele was just... I mean, I think he's more frustrating than Ndombele. But I know what you mean. Because it's almost like Lo Celso just kept edging us.
Yeah.
Just like he was showing little glimpses of what he and almost cult hero status if he'd stayed fit, because all the times he just wind players up. Like even this season, he'd have a go at João Pedro, have a go at Erling Haaland, just pissing him off, And it was like, go on, Lo Celso, like he cares. Like people saying he don't care, and then he just disappeared from the face of the earth for about 2 months, and it was just like, fucking hell, he's injured again, is he? Yeah. And then, you bet he's playing for Argentina. Yeah. So like, and that's the frustrating thing as well. It's like he's always fit for Argentina, but never fit for Spurs. So put 2 and 2 together, he probably ain't fully that injured. Or if he really wanted to play, he probably would. I don't know. That sounds harsh, but
he'll have a blinding Copa America.
Unbelievable. And then, but it will do us wonders because it will drive his price up a little bit. But again, 1 year left on his contract, it will probably get south of 20 mil.
Yeah,
probably. Yeah. Nothing in between 15 and 20 mil probably for him. But yeah, he has bags of quality. Again, you just can't fucking keep fit. And if you're not fit, you're not it.
Exactly.
But yeah, Tanganga is another player whose contract expired, who emerged from the youth system into the first team in that same season that all of those players joined. Sum up his Spurs career, because I think it comes down to the personnel of the manager. I think if we were playing a high line, either him fullback or centre back. I know he had fitness issues as well, but I think we would have seen. He wasn't the most technical, but I think we would have seen the best out of Tanganga instead of a low block. Because he did have that pace, he did have that athleticism, and he was immense that first season when he came in. And he was, I mean, you're thinking of moments until he got sent off at Crystal Palace. He was really good. And Man City was, I've never seen anything like it. Locked up 2 players, Sterling and Grealish, locked them up. They were so annoyed, and then he come off and got a massive standing ovation. Sum up his Spurs career.
He's one of our own. That's what they were singing, wasn't it? It was, I'm really. It's kind of not summing it up, but like I'm really happy for Tanganga that he's going to get this opportunity to go and show how good I think he can be. Because I think, like you said, I said this last week on a TikTok video talking about like the players that we'd let go. And I was actually quite surprised that Spurs maybe didn't trigger the extension for 1 more year of Tanganga because of the value that he might hold, with someone like Millwall obviously being interested in him. Apparently he's got interest from lower Premier League clubs as well, which I think would have been an amazing move for him, like a newly promoted side like an Ipswich or someone like that.
Ipswich, I was just thinking that.
Yeah. I love Jaffet, and I hope he just goes and smashes it wherever he goes, because I really think there's a really good defender in there. Lovely personality as well, so kind of like infectious, and you can see how well the Millwall fans took to him as well. I'd like him to go back there because he's going somewhere where he's loved. But I think, and I mean, to be fair, Millwall have kind of been in and around the promotion picture before, so he could take that step up with them next season. Who knows? Probably not, but I just loved wherever he goes. I'm just happy for him because I think he's got a really good chance to make a fresh start, smash it. Like you said, I think it's kind of his lack of ability to kind of be a mainstay at Spurs. I don't think is down to. It's not the same as Sessegnon. I think, like you said, it's kind of down to like circumstance and down to the kind of revolving door of managers who have played so many different systems and played him in so many different positions. It's such a shame for him, but such a lovely guy, such a really talented defender who's got his best years ahead of him. How old is Jaffet? 25?
25, I think.
He's younger than me.
He screams Southampton, I think.
That is a great shout. That is actually a great shout, you know. He's only just turned 25 this year, mate. He's got so much time. Like, it's sad to see him go. Obviously, I think it was the right thing for him, and I think it's the right thing for Spurs. Yeah, but I'm really happy for him. I'm really happy for him, and I hope he goes and absolutely fucking smashes it.
Yeah,
love Jack.
I think my favourite moment. 100%. I'm the exact same. You want him to have an incredible career. It didn't work out at Spurs. I think it's a testament to his character how he kept on keeping his head down and carrying on trying to adapt to every single position he was put in over the last 5 years under 4 managers. He even started a bit of pre-season last year with Postecoglou, but
did he play in that Barcelona game?
I can't remember. But the thing about Tanganga is it must be so hard when you're in the team, then you get injured, and then you got to work your way back into the team, and then you do, but then you're rotated or you're played out of position, and it's like a constant cycle, and it's a testament to him for keeping his head down and getting on with it. But he's never going to look stable, is he, or comfortable when you keep changing him. So, yeah, kick on, mate. Like, kick on, have a great career, because he will have a great career. And he's got bundles of ability, and my favourite moment of him was that Champions League. We were getting spanked against Leipzig, and Upamecano was like up and coming centre back, and Tanganga just shoulder barged him into 6 feet underground, mate. I've never seen strength like that, because Upamecano, he is fucking massive.
Yeah, bro got bodied.
And Tanganga just shoulder barged him. Yeah, he did. Yeah, and I remember it being such a heavy shoulder barge. Everyone was like, "Was that a pen?" But no, it was 50-50, and it was so good. But yeah, hopefully he kicks on. Another player. So we've touched on Emerson a lot. We won't go into detail on Emerson, but a lot is happening at right back so far this summer. Apparently, Genoa are in negotiation with Spurs over the permanent move of Jed Spence. Where did it go wrong for Jed Spence at Spurs? Because he's only been here for like 2 years.
Yeah, it is again. It's a shame, but it's like I'm not that bothered about it. I'm not bothered about. I think it was a bit of a punt. I think it was a bit of a club signing. I think as much as we all kind of, I'm not a massive fan of Conte and the way things ended, but I think that's kind of one of the things that he was right about, really. And he kind of said it himself. He didn't really mince his words when it came to it kind of being a club signing. And
yeah,
it's a shame, but again, I kind of hope he just goes on and has a decent career. I think, that that tweet that he put out digging out Neil Warnock, I think it's aged like absolutely milk, isn't it?
Yeah. Where's my manners?
Yeah.
Welcome to Twitter, Neil Warnock. Yeah, I know.
Exactly.
I know.
But yeah, he was quite decent at Genoa, apparently, from what people have said and what I've kind of seen a little bit. I don't know, man. There was some stuff that came out while he was at Leeds, wasn't there, about why they let him go in January, about his attitude. And again, you have to be careful, because it's like there's always these, and I don't really want to get into this that much, but like it's kind of the sort of same I was saying about Ndombele before. I did actually just sort of lay into him about being a bit of a fat bastard, but like I think like I don't know, maybe just leave it. But like I think sometimes black or mixed race players kind of have this preconception a lot of the time about their attitude, and they kind of get spoken about in a kind of a different way to other players sometimes. And I always thought for a while that Spence, because of the way that he carried himself, it was almost like a bit of an unconscious bias in the way that people would just be like, "Oh, I don't really like his attitude. He's a bit arrogant. He's a bit like," whereas like if another player does it, it's not so much of an issue. But I think then if you're hearing it firsthand from a manager who's had to work with him in the training ground day to day, was it Farker at Leeds? Then I think then it holds a little bit more weight. If he's saying that the reason that he's even not been picked or not been, not been involved as much is because I've not really liked what I've seen, and sometimes in terms of the way he handles himself, then I think you kind of have to take their word for it, I guess. Whereas like there's a big difference between that and then people making their own minds up, which is what happens a lot of the time with these players. So but again, hopefully, good luck to him. Spurs maybe hopefully get a decent bit of money for him, and we just forget that ever happened.
He might have a resurgence and come back to the Prem at some point and rip it up. Maybe sometimes you have to just make your own pathway. If it's not working out, create your own pathway, and you'll get back to where you wanted to be. Just from a completely different journey to the common player. So
and that's why I think going away, like we've said this before. I think we said this in the last episode when we were talking about Parrott, maybe, about players going abroad and kind of putting themselves out their comfort zone, and Marcus Edwards as well. Like it's great. I really like that. I think it's great for those players, and I think we're doing the world of good. So hopefully Spence comes back and almost comes back a bit rejuvenated from that. And look, I like him. I do like him. I like what he's about. Like I said, and I think some of those presumptions about him are maybe unfair, but then when you hear it from a manager, it's kind of like, well, you kind of have to take their word for it. But yeah, hopefully, good luck. Again, like any kind of player that's played for Spurs, good luck to him. He's not shown anywhere near the kind of disrespect to the fans, the players that someone like Ndombele did by actually doing what he did on the football pitch. So yeah, good luck to him.
No, I know what you mean. And it ain't a good look when I think he was the last signing that Daniel Levy was involved or pushing, or the front man in signing. signing them. I
Yeah.
think was it the last sort of deal. We were hearing reports that Daniel Levy is the one that is leading the negotiations in signing Jed Spence, and I think again it just shows that Daniel Levy just needs to fucking fuck off, and not I mean, not in a sense of like business and stuff, but in a sense of leave the transfers to the specialists, mate. That's all we want.
Yeah.
Although we did hear about him sealing the Dragusin deal with Johan Lange, didn't we?
Yeah.
So maybe, but yeah, it's not a good look on him, is it? He hasn't got a good sort of transfer list, hit list recently, has he? When it comes to sort of who he wants, and like you're saying with Antonio Conte, he's alluded to it as a club transfer, and it hasn't worked out at all under managers that play different styles, an attacking style, Postecoglou, and Conte, who played fucking fossil football. So moving on to the replacement of Jed Spence and Emerson, Brazilian right back from Monaco, Vanderson, 22 years old, played it as a wing back, now playing sort of, last season he played more inverted. What do you think of him? Do you know much about him?
Yeah, I made a video about him yesterday, actually. He's got a very, very similar profile to Porro, doesn't he? He's got a very, very...
He looks like a fucking replica.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which you can kind of tell Spurs are going for this data-led approach on someone like Vanderson.
Yeah.
And you kind of, from the reaction that I've been seeing from a lot of other people who know more about him than me, are excited about it. I think he's one that he's kind of the right age. I think we really need that proper competition for Porro, because I think as much as Porro was great last season, we need someone to push him more.
Yeah, I think so.
Like you said earlier, you can't stand still.
Yeah.
I think he ranked first for defensive duels per 90 in Liga last season, first for interceptions, second for successful defensive actions, second for deep completions. Don't know what that means. Third for expected assists and third for expected goals. I think he had 3 goals and 1 assist, maybe. But he didn't start a lot of games. Those per 90 stats are good. I think he started about 20 odd games. I don't know whether that's for an injury or not. But and according to FB Ref, or Data MB, sorry, his similar data profile is Pedro Porro. So,
really?
Yeah, literally bang on.
Do you reckon that's the website the scouts have been on?
Yeah, exactly.
Like
I reckon I could do that.
Similar Porro players. Vanderson,
I could do
top
that.
of the list.
I could do that job.
Let's go for him.
I could do that job. Go on FB Ref or like Data MB. Data MB is actually a really good website that I do use quite a lot.
Yeah.
FB Ref or StatHead, and just be like, similar players to Pedro Porro.
I'm looking at his injury list right now, and I've made the decision I don't want to sign him because he had a knee injury and a hip injury this season, and missed 35 days with a knee injury according to Transfer Market, and 26 days with a hip injury. So that's 2 months he lost out last season for injury.
Oh no.
So, but he hasn't really had. Oh, he had another knee injury in 22-23. Which he was out for 37 days, and then they're the injuries he's had. So if he's had a recurring knee injury, we just need durability. We need that. Yeah. We can't just keep getting players injured. So I think, you know, when like Emerson comes in and Porro's out, and you definitely see the quality drop. Vanderson would fit the system like a glove in the fact that he could be a like-for-like replacement for Porro, and you wouldn't really worry about sort of that massive drop-off because he just does the same role. But I think that if we're going to sign if we're going to add depth in the fullback area, sign a player, and I know Emerson's more defensive, but sign a player that we could maybe do the equivalent to Van der Ven left back on the right side.
Yeah.
Because I think it's just a different dynamic that we can play in the games where we're going to get caught in the transition a bit more, or the games that just gives us more control. So we're not as erratic in transitions, and it's not like we don't want it to be a basketball match, because then it's like a roulette of who's going to score next, isn't it?
Yeah.
We don't need that, and we saw from having just Van der Ven left back, and I'm not saying I want a doggy playing next year, but yeah. We saw that we had more control in defence when we had that. We had a bit more stability. So I would probably go towards maybe signing a Geertruida, who we've been linked with as well, who can play. I've spoken about this before, that we can maybe it just gives us that different option. But he's he's not the same as a Emerson because like Emerson can't attack, but players that can attack and get into those half spaces up further in the final third of the pitch, but just gives us that more cover or more aerial ability or more physicality in games where we're going to get peppered. Just gives us a bit more stability. Vanderson's 5'8", is he 5'9"? He just looks like a replica of Porro, like I say, and that again the role won't change, but there's not much depth in the dynamic change, I think. Do you know what I mean?
Whereas Geertruida looks like a tank. Like he looks like a unit who's great at carrying the ball. Again, the way that Feyenoord would set up under slot, he would invert a lot of the time, and then the winger would kind of hold the width. So he'd be used to playing the way that we want to play.
Exactly.
We're going to face competition, I think, from Liverpool. There was links to Geertruida last week, wasn't there? Did we speak about this last week?
Yeah, there was. Yeah, I can't remember, but 22 mil as well. It's a fucking bargain.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolute bargain. Last
is
year
that his release clause?
We should be all over it.
It is.
I think that's just his price tag because he's on his final year. I think he's young, captain. Just every attribute under the sun he's got, and he's got a bit of aura about him as well. And I just think
like him.
It'd be perfect to take us forward. But and he'd be cheaper than Anderson.
Someone like a Simic, he'd be a lot more expensive, but someone like a Simican as well, who can do that kind of centre back, right back role as well. Comfortable getting those forward areas. Archie Gray. I think Archie Gray would be great. I think he'd be great.
Yeah.
But I think if you're kind of wanting to build for them now, it'd be a lot of money. But he's not. Yeah, Archie Gray would be fantastic. But Geertruida, I think for me would probably be the number one choice. I like Vanderson. I like what I've seen of him. He's got a lot of quality, really comfortable on the ball. But again, I said this in my Conor Gallagher video on YouTube. Ange Postecoglou wants durability, and I think that should be a kind of priority in some of the players that we're looking at, especially in midfield. Like, going off on a bit of a tangent about Gallagher, but like when you look at how long players like Benson were out for last year, Basuma picking up suspensions and stuff like that, and I think only 4 players played more minutes than Gallagher in the Premier League last season. Knowing us, he'd probably come and he'd get fucking injured. It's just what we do. But I think over the squad, I think that's kind of one of the main facets of a player that we kind of need to almost prioritize a little bit.
Yeah. Well, 100%, because the demands each role in the Postecoglou system with the "we never fucking stop" motto.
Yeah,
that the demands is it does take a lot. It takes its toll on every single player. So players that come in and haven't had a record of injury, because if someone comes in and they be unbelievable, but they pull their hammy within the first couple of games and then they're out for 6 months, no point in signing them. And that's why I'm a little bit worried. I'm pro Eze, but Eze's injury history isn't the best. Elise's injury isn't the best. Say we're linked with him. And there's such a demand on every single player that puts shift in each game, that you need that durability to succeed, I think, we need to be looking at that. So Vanderson, that does put me off a little bit, seeing his injury list. Another couple of links we've had from Christian Falk, I think, is that FC Bayern on Twitter.
Yeah. Is he the one that Fabrizio's got his "Here we go"?
Yeah.
Is it Christian Falk that says "true"? He puts "true."
I don't know.
And then it's like he says like "true," like tick, and then it's like he's linked with Spurs.
He does put the green tick emoji, and it all is.
I'm sure he says like "true." It makes me die. It's so funny.
But he's linked us to a couple of Stuttgart players. Stuttgart, fucking hell, I'm having a stroke saying that. Stuttgart, they had a really good season, and obviously Guirassi's getting a lot of the headlines up front because he's got quite a cheap release clause. But they come second in the Bundesliga last year. A couple of players were linked with through Christian Falk, who is really reliable when it comes to German Bundesliga transfers. First one being that we're battling with Bayern Munich to sign Chris. I'm gonna ruin this pronunciation, but
Furyk.
Furyk. Yeah,
I think it'd be Furyk.
Furyk, yeah, makes sense, yeah. And then so he's got a 23 million euro release clause, so about 20 mil. The other player is Hiroki Ito. We'll get onto him in a second, but Chris Furyk then. What do you know much about him? And he's 26 years old. What would you expect? Say he comes in, would that elevate us? He can play left mid, right mid, cam. No.
It doesn't move me, I'll be honest. It doesn't really. It doesn't really.
Does it?
No. No.
Could he be a Van der Ven type signing where no one really knows who he is, but they come second in the Bundesliga? He's in the German national team for the Euros.
We'll see. We'll see after the Euros, I think. It's not exciting. It's not grabbing me.
Bayern are interested in him.
And Bayern are interested in Dragusin, to be fair. So who knows? But not for me. Not for I don't know enough. I don't really know enough about him. It's 8 goals, 7 assists last season. Overperformed his XG. 137 shot creating actions. Looks all right. I need to actually have a look at him, but I haven't really seen much.
Off of like Brazil Scout and Scout Nation and that on YouTube, I mean, he looks like he controls the game on the wing quite well with the game
like a Grealish kind of.
But someone who just stands the man up. But then we've got too many fucking players that just stand their man up.
Kulusevski, you don't need someone on the right hand side to do that.
You need someone that can be a catalyst in every single attack. You give it to them, and the defense shit himself, because before the defender's even set, the winger is running at them, going with the balance to look like they're going left or right, and keep the defender guessing. Have that sort of urgency about them, but also who understands the game state and thinks, okay, if I could lose the ball, we could be in a bit of a danger on the transition. So I'm just going to keep the ball. We need that type of player. As a Nico Williams, that type of player. I think we've got too many players like Furyk, in Kulusevski. Son isn't the best at. Son does that quite a bit, where he'll hold the man up and then pass it back. We don't need that. We need something different. We need that Doku type player that Man City have. So I'm not too sure, but if it happened, I'd back it. But 26 as well, he's probably in his peak. I don't know. And the other player is Hiroki Ito. So I think he's got a 25 million euro release clause. Euros. So I think they've got a lot of fucking release clause on their players. Stuttgart. What do you make of him?
Yeah, I know a little bit more about him, and I think that he would. I know he's was he the quickest player in the Bundesliga or something last season?
I think so. He had something like that. Yeah, some stat like that.
It seems like a bit of a Van der Ven 2.0, which again, you kind of saying about Furyk, as in he could be that kind of Van der Ven type signing. But Ito is how old is Ito? He's a bit younger, I think, right?
25 is he? 24, 25?
25. Just turned 25 as well. So I know 25, 26 kind of potato a little bit, still kind of getting onto that peak. But in terms of a position where we don't really need to strengthen, I think someone like Ito would be quite decent backup from what I've kind of seen. Whereas Furyk, I think that's a position where we need to strengthen. Whereas centre back, I don't think we need to.
Yeah.
But another backup would be quite nice. So I'd be more in favour of that rather than someone in a 4 position who just again he could be really impressive at the Euros. And obviously, we won't get to see Ito at the Euros because he's Japanese. So we have to do a bit more of a scouting mission on him. But no, he looks all right. He looks all right. Looks all right.
He's very technically sound. And again, I've always said this: Bundesliga centre backs, and you've alluded to William Pacho from Frankfurt as someone potentially,
as well.
Yeah, but Bundesliga centre backs, they're the market for an Ange Postecoglou system, because Bundesliga is very much like basketball. It's such a transitional game. So the centre backs are so used to playing in a transitional, defending in transitional areas or covering wide positions or whatever it may be. And that fits the way exactly how Postecoglou defenders defend. So I think that's definitely the market we need to look at. 25 mil is an absolute fucking steal for someone mid-20s who fits the system perfectly. He can play left back as well. He's really good at progressive carries. I don't know the stats. You probably got it up, but I think he looks sound. I don't know actually how he is defending, but they got second in the Bundesliga. That's great going for us. A team that
is that good? Seems good to me.
Yeah, mate. Seems pretty good. I mean, Stuttgart to get in second, they have to have a lot of talent, a lot of hidden gems to achieve that. And I mean, he just seems very sound, and you don't want players that are going to be demanding a first team place, because that's unrealistic. They're going to cost too much. They're going to have too much wages, and they're going to kick up a fuss. And you got to be realistic when you're signing that fourth centre back. He'd get game time in the Europa League, and he'd be that long-term cover for Ben Davies, someone that can cover left back, someone that can cover centre back, and be a professional and get on with it. And I think that's something he'd bring to us, and I think that's brilliant cover, to be honest. And then we're set if we sign that right back and someone like him. It's just whether we sign homegrown players further up the pitch to allow us to do that. So I'm very happy with that type of link. I'm very happy.
Yeah,
I think it's a smart deal that we're expected to do when it comes to sort of data-led approaches, approaching. So yeah, I think that excites me, to be honest.
Yeah, excites me as well. I'm trying to find some stats on him, but nothing's really coming up. So I don't know whether is that good? But it is also, I'm looking at StatHead, and I'm trying to look at progressive carries and some other bits. It's just not coming up at all. Where is he? But it's also got Serge Gnabry listed as a defender for some reason. So
yeah, maybe
a bit all over the place.
Don't you have to pay for that?
Yeah, it's worth the money. It's not that much money. But the fact that it's listed in Stuttgart as Gnabry as defender might contradict my statement about being worth the money.
Yeah. Whilst we're trying to find that, finally we got Spurs players Euro watch, and this is fucking shocking, to be honest with you, Ben. We've got four players playing at the Euros. I know we've got a lot of South Americans and obviously Son, players that won't be in the Euros, but 4 players in the Euros is such a downgrade. Obviously, Porro missed out, Maddison missed out. That would have been 6. So you got to take that into consideration. They were borderline at making the teams, and arguably Porro should have made that Spanish team. He didn't. But the 4 players are Mickey van der Ven, representing Netherlands. Vicario, representing Italy. A lot of Italian fans favour Vicario over Donnarumma at the moment. Dragusin, playing for Romania. Højbjerg, playing for Denmark. Okay, Højbjerg might not be here for long, but he fucking represents Denmark with everything he's got. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. He was in the last
3 goals in 3 games.
Yeah, and he was in the team of the tournament last Euros. He was unbelievable. What players? If you were to guess, what players would take the spot, get the biggest spotlight from neutral fans out of those 4 players? Because there's always players that just they play out their skin sometimes, or they show the world on the biggest stage what they've got. Players like Dragus, Van der Ven, probably will be Van der Ven, wouldn't it?
Yeah, Van der Ven, 100%. Yeah, that's not a big round of bush. I don't think Vicario is going to start, which is a shame for Italy. I think it'll be Van der Ven. I think it's kind of what Van der Ven will almost kind of. I think you know how we've been talking about the whole last season about how we see what Romero does, rival fans don't, but they see how good Van der Ven is, and then we kind of try and guide them down the path of no, Romero's actually really good as well. Might actually be better. Whereas everybody sees Van der Ven the crunching tackles, the carrying the ball forward. Like the other night, that run for Netherlands playing at left back was a joke, wasn't it? I think
the ball as well, the end product, fucking unbelievable.
I think Van der Ven is going to have a really good tournament. Their defensive depth is incredible, Holland, and I think he actually might start. Whether that's at left back or whether that's at centre back, I think he's kind of. I think Koeman said, didn't he? He was I was more than satisfied with what Van der Ven can do at left back. So they've got the ability to shape up with a 5. Brennan, they kind of got Dumfries, who plays as that right wing back for Inter Milan. But they've also kind of got the capability to shape up with a 4 as well. And I think Van der Ven at left back could be really decent for them. And I think he just stands out, doesn't he? He's so fit. And but he's just whenever he carries the ball, it's just who the fuck is that guy? Everyone's going to know who Van der Ven is, even if you kind of you're going to be oh, that's the guy who plays for Tottenham. You're oh shit, he's actually really good. I think there'll be a lot of that with Van der Ven this summer. I think he's going to have a bit of a, I'd say a breakout tournament because he's had a kind of a great year for Spurs in the Premier League, but I think people
this is in the spotlight of biggest competition in the world, or do you know what I mean? That sort of. He hasn't played Champions League. He hasn't played a World Cup or a Euros. These are what make elite players.
Well, he's playing the biggest European competition next season, so
what, Europa League?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Whoa. Yeah, I mean, we will be there. We will be there. I mean, you nailed it. You got it spot on with their defensive cover because they've got Geertruida. They've got Frimpong, who I actually think plays the right mid for them because it's just too stacked. Dumfries, that's their right backs. Left backs, they've got Ake, Van der Ven. And when they were talking about Van der Ven making the Euros, they left out Ian Maatsen, who's had a fantastic season at Borussia Dortmund. And Koeman said, he said, well, Van der Ven plays left back for Spurs, which he only played there for like 3 games.
Yeah.
But Ake plays left back. So they got Van der Ven, Ake who can play left back. Blind, is he in the team? Can't remember. Then they've got De Ligt. So. They've got Timber's not even in the Euros, but he's another player that can play across the back four. Yeah, fuck. Go fuck yourself.
Sorry, you got did your ACL. Probably shouldn't laugh at that, but
and then you've got Van Dijk. You've got so many defensive monsters playing for Holland, and Van der Ven looks like he'll be a starter. So massive.
They're playing again tonight. So it'll be interesting. I was just looking at the team that played Canada. Obviously Van der Ven started. It was Blind and De Ligt at centre back. Geertruida actually at right back.
Geertruida watch when we watch Van der Ven.
Geertruida watch tonight. Anyway,
yeah.
Bergwijn came off the bench as well. Dumfries, who else have got in defence? Van Dijk, De Vrij.
Yeah. Steady Eddie.
Is Koopmeiners in the squad? Because number 8?
I don't know.
Number 8? I like
he's linked with Juventus, isn't he? Another one of California. He's linked with Juventus.
It's a shame.
Yeah, it's just there's something about Italian clubs, and it's
really like
Bayern Munich, aren't they? Of Syria, but
I actually think I think he'd be quite good for that, like down the road. But he's a good player.
Yeah, there's stats at Holland. Sorry, we've gone off a tangent here, but we will bring out a Euros pod coming soon for the tournament. But Holland have got like Xavi Simons, Brobbery, is it Brian Brobbery?
Brian Brobbery. It's Brian Madondi.
He looks like a proper talent.
Brian Brobby.
You got Xavi Simons, Gakpo, midfields, Koopmeiners. They've left out Mats Vijfo. I fucking love Mats Vijfo. They left him out.
Your boy.
De Jong, Gravenberg. Yeah, that is my boy. But yeah, so we'll be on Van der Ven watch because I'm pretty sure he'll have a standout tournament. Dragu's in for Romania. Romania are pretty shit, but he's one of those players that you can see having a good tournament and being a standout because he will be a standout for Romania.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Dragusin possibly, and then we know Højbjerg always plays out of skin for Denmark, and hopefully Vicario gets some game time, but probably won't because of Donnarumma. But
it's a shame.
But
is he a better goalkeeper than Donnarumma?
Because
Donnarumma, I think this could be the change in the guard for the next tournament. World Cup 2026 for Vicario at least number 1.
Imagine.
Yeah.
I think so. He's had a better season, isn't he? And if you're going off form, you should play Vicario. But it's just whether they're brave enough to do it. Spalletti, he has played Vicario over Donnarumma in the some warm up games. But
it's kind of the same with a doggy as well, isn't it? Like DeMarco probably would have started anyway.
Yeah,
but to have that option would be great, and to see him there, I'm excited for him. Man.
He'd be another one. We wouldn't have 4 players at the Euros if a doggy was fit. I mean, he would have another standout tournament, I think. But again, like saying, DeMarco is one of the best left backs in the world as well. So it's a shame for Vicario because he'd be unbelievable in the Euros. It's just he's got Donnarumma ahead of him, and he won them the tournament last tournament. So But Ben, you've been a legend. Did you get Ozito progressive carries or not? Can find it.
Not the numbers, but I can tell you that he ranks in the top 14 percentile for progressive carries versus centre-backs in Europe's top 5 leagues, averaging 1.17 per 90. He also recorded 1.41 shots creating actions, ranking the top 9%.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, he ranks in the top 2% for expected assisted goals with 0.08 per 90. Passes attempted, top 6%. Progressive passes received, top 6%. Looks right.
Bloody hell! Get him in lily white.
Similar players: Daley Blind, Jean-Claire Todibo, Jules Koundé, Benjamin Pavard, Mario Hermoso, David Alaba. Some geezer I don't know who that is, also from Stuttgart. Alessandro Bastoni. Who remembers?
Oh yeah.
Facundo Medina and Tuta, the Brazilian geezer at Frankfurt.
Also,
Looks right to me, mate.
Postecoglou, he knows the Japanese market.
He does.
But that's what we heard when he first come, and we were on the lookout for talent in the Japanese league or players who playing for Japan, and this could be the first Postecoglou signing from Japan. Exciting times.
Class, man. Let's fucking go.
Been an absolute legend as per usual. Where can people find you? If they don't know already, definitely do know already. But
if you don't know, get to know. No, thanks, mate. I'm gonna say it first now. YouTube, Ben Bowman. I think if you search my name now, I might be eclipsing the Michael Jackson impersonator. If you search Ben Bowman, oh no, it's still Michael Jackson. I'm fucking.
Oh no!
Oh no. Okay, if you just we'll put a link in the description. Put a link in the description. I'm not uploading enough videos yet, but yeah, thanks to everyone that has subscribed, by the way. I'm 328 subscribers now. I've just uploaded my Euros predictions video. So go and give that a watch. Go
watch that right now.
Go watch it right now. Like now.
Right now. Yeah.
Now. I demand it. Yeah, YouTube, Ben Bowman, TikTok, Ben Bowman. If you can't find my YouTube, you click the link in my bio on my TikTok, you'll be there. We'll put a link in the description as well. And Twitter and that as well.
Yeah.
Twitter and that. About to go. I'm about to literally right now. I'm about to move my season ticket for next season. I'm going to do that now. Nice. My window opens literally. Is open now to do it. So I'm going to go do that right now.
Everyone, we love the feedback. We've loved all the feedback so far, and we absolutely love it when it comes in. So if you have any suggestions for the pod, or if you want to give us any feedback, please do. It's unbelievable, and the love we get is so far has been incredible. So thank you so much, and thanks for listening, everyone. Up the Spurs, and we'll be back this week for some Euros content if you're interested.
Yeah, come on, England.
Coys.
Coy England. Up, come on, England. It's coming home. It's coming home.